Hey, it's Flango. So I have a little bit of time, so I'm gonna open a bunch of packs and see what happens. What do I have enough for 30 packs? Okay, plus 4. Not bad. Um, so wait, that's unfortunate. I guess I'll open the nightmare ones first. I'm also gonna maybe somehow change the audio here. Mbop. Okay, cool. So, wait, that's new, isn't it? Wait, what? I guess I opened a Rise of Kings pack. Okay. So I'm gonna just look at the cards, talk about, like what we can use them all for, and that'll be that. So what do we got? We got Trench's Lament, Undying Aquatic, On Play, Terrain. So yeah. Oh, it's only within distance 1. Wow. I mean, obviously that card is up here. I don't think I really like it. Like, okay, where is there any like portals for water yet? No, right? This doesn't become a portal for water, and it can't attack. In fact, it basically doesn't do anything except for bodyguard for your king, which, I mean, fair enough. Chump blockers are fine. And it creates terrain in distance 1. So, what's going to use this? I think, like, Aqua decks right now are just Shock Leviathan that'll use this, right? Like, Shenlong wouldn't use it. The big Aqua Hydra won't use it. I mean, like, Crabulous, but you wouldn't run that as a king if you're trying to win. So I'm interested to see how people can make this interesting. I initially thought it was going to be a good card, but unsure now. Raging Tide, play on Aquatic, and then click an adjacent. That should be an an. Maybe I'll just like do this live and just go into typos and type Raging Tide should say and not and. Or maybe I'll even print screen it. Boom. Whatever. Poorly done, but whatever. An adjacent tile, it will move that direction until it hits a non-ocean or occupied tile. This is insane for Shenlong, by the way. Well, okay. It might not be, because it only goes until the end of the ocean, right? But no other card can attack once it gets into a non-ocean. So I'm going to have to say it would have to be amphibious. Aquatic cards don't really care about this. Maybe like Aqua Hydra would just use this for expanding. But for 15, to move like, like probably 4 maximum is not that great. But for Shenlong, this is sick. Because if you play like expansive cards like Sharks and you play like Flood and you could maybe even play Trench's Lament, and then you just Raging Tide to move it all the way to the other side of the board, like that's a free hit. That's pretty cool. I think Raging Tide in a Shenlong aggro is a pretty decent like finisher chase card. Okay, last stand. If your king is under 6 HP, heal it by 25. I don't really like it, but it's kind of OP, I think. I think you'll definitely run this card, especially on kings that have an easy, like that have a lot of like small poke cards that can get them down to 6 easily. Because if you're doing like anything less than 20 damage, then it's almost just worth it to just smack yourself and then heal yourself back up to 25. So that's pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Okay, Dragon's Rage. Play a dragon. Increase its attack by 5 and HP by 10. This is insane. I don't know how they're gonna make this not OP. I don't know what the buff 5 is. I guess just buff by attack by 5. This is insane. I think dragons are just OP. Okay, but then there's this thing, which is like mini Zera. I don't know if this got leaked. Change all tiles within distance 1 to crystal. All tiles within distance 1 to oasis. Okay, so it's basically just create... Okay, this is sick. I kind of like this card. It's not that great, but for um, hmm, yeah, I don't think anyone actually runs this. Maybe like Wasteland, maybe Crystal, just because it has a hard time. But yeah, I think there's better ways to create terrain. But I love the idea of this card. Like this is one of my favorite cards now. But okay, cards to look out for that are OP. I mean, Raging Tide will actually get played in decks for sure. Last Stand is OP. Dragon Rage is OP. Trencher's Lament and Painter, they'll get used, but I think Terrain Painter between the two has a higher chance just because it's basically just a better Trencher's Lament. But I guess it costs 5, so we'll see. Let's just get the Nightmares out of the way. Holy cow, that's loud. I hope you guys aren't hearing it that loud. Okay, Nightmares are out of the way. Let's keep going with Rise of Kings. Okay, Chasm Crawler. This I'm interested in. But okay, Descent. Sacrifice all your demons. Summon your highest costed demon from your hand whose cost is less than 10 times the number of demons sacrificed. Okay, so get 10 mana per demon that you sacrifice. I think that's really strong. I don't like demons. I'm not going to play it. I think it's fine. Like, because you can go really aggro with demons, and they have decent health. So you can, like, trade down, or trade up, I guess. And then, just sacrifice them once they're at, like, 1 HP, and then, boom. It's pretty strong. Um, and plus you get to play a card, which is insane, right? Like, this is way better than sacrifice. For demon decks, at least. Knockback spell, give a mage the magic push ability. Actually, this I feel like magic push doesn't let you attack anymore, so you can't really use it offensively, as far as I know. But overall, like this is fine. I don't know what mage would ever use this. Like like your king doesn't really want to be knocking back. It wants to be killing anything that gets close to it, in theory. Now mages don't have a good king, but that's a different problem. I could see like maybe you get behind them and then magic push them, but you can't move at the same time. So it's going to be really hard to make that work. So I don't think it'll get used. Mana Triad. If you have 3 cards in triangle position, drag this to the center to get 30 mana. I think this is pretty strong. I think, unironically, this is playable. Like, Square was already kind of playable. Do I think people will use it as their main? Probably not. But it's possible in like an aggressive deck that you just run Mana Triad as your mana. Honestly, I think it's like a staple. I think it's like one of the most popular mana cards in the end. Because it's just so easy to get triangle position. Like if you have, oh my god, I don't have Epic Pen open. If you have like any sort of things at all, man, like you've got movement type that's line, then it's really not hard. What is the triangle position? It's like here and here, right? Or is it here and here? Because if it's here and here, then that's really OP. Because if you have a Knight's Move piece, putting it here and here isn't that weird. Or even putting it like here, as like compared to your king, isn't that weird. It hits a lot of things close by. So overall, like I think it's really not that hard to get pieces that you put in a triangle position in front of your king. Like you can have a Knight's Move piece here. Any like Crabulous style card or like just slow movement card, you're gonna put it next to your king. Maybe a little bit diagonal is fine, right? So I think this is insane. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean it's 10 mana per turn. It's equal to what's that card? Garden or Shark. So it's not OP, but we'll see. We will definitely see. Because the thing is, you do have to play this later. And this is something that I think we've talked about, is like, if you play Garden early on turn 1, your opponent is at, like, let's say this is your opponent's power graph, right? Generally speaking, they're going to play this. And so, if you are playing Garden on turn 1, you're red, then that's fine. Because if you're weak, and then you get stronger and stronger, then you surpass here, and the difference is never huge. But if you're playing equal to them, I guess yellow will be with Mana Triad. If you're playing equal to them, and then U flat, their increases are higher and like they're stronger now, especially because they have that mana to spend. And so you're getting potentially more wrecked because this difference between these two is bigger in the later half. So that is a big downside to Mana Triad, and I think that's a really important thing to think about. But I think it's a good card. Maybe not OP, maybe not like a mainstay, but I think it's competitive in the mana tier or in the mana category. Okay, mana miner. 5 mana while on crystal. I want to build a crystal deck fairly badly. I don't think an attack 2 is ever going to be useful on crystal, but hey, it's like a shark, but better. So, well, I guess maybe not better because 7 HP, but with crystal it's essentially 12 plus change. I like it. I think I'll probably end up running this card in crystal decks because it doesn't even die, right? Like it's like Garden but better. Okay, Chasm Crawler, good HP. This is the king that I'm actually interested in for Wasteland, so this had better be good. Regen is good, decent HP. Changes terrain to Wasteland with attack 15. So that's already, I think, straight line 2. It's really close to being. Oh, that's really weak movement. What is Acid Storm? Okay, Acid Storm is, yeah, okay. This is just flat out like a or not Shenlong. Well, it is. It's like Shenlong with worse attack, but wait, why would you? I guess if you're next to people, you can use regular attack. It's a Shenlong with worse movement, worse attack, worse health, but it can move and attack on the same turn, and it has regen. Okay, I think it's okay because so bad movement is generally bad, right? But straight line 2 is actually okay because the other cards are like you have that other guy who's like an L. Um, what else do you have? I mean, like you can run Kaze and all that. Like I don't like the Kaze package. Geomancer's fine. Geomancer wouldn't like this Chasm Crawler thing though. I don't know. I'll get back to you on this. I'm definitely gonna play around with it, but I think tentatively this does it compete with Zera? I think it does. Because the movement being different from your other guys, like your 20 cost guys, and from Raiden, is good. It is really good. And it's probably slightly worse if you have what's the guy who oh my god, I'm sorry guys. The Reaper who gives you mana when he kills. So he's got like 21 attack or something stupid like that, right? And you usually run him as like a finisher. Now, Chasm Crawler's straight line gives you like you just straight out have less range for a single drop. Like you can drop here, here, here. Well, I guess you start here because he only moves 2, right? Whereas with Zera, like you can move to here and here with your guy, which means you can drop like 1 row farther, and then you can drop here, 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 and obviously you can drop anywhere within here with your Chasm Crawler, but like the range is a little bit better, I think. So that's something to consider. I'm not super impressed by Chasm Crawler, but I'm interested. All right, next card. Oh, Muck Hopper. I'm excited for that one too. Life Drain. Deal 5 damage with. Huh. This is good. You can drain life from your cards and then sacrifice them. And even if not, then you can just drain life, play a card, and you still get all your cards to attack with. So aggro decks can honestly be sick with this. Really weird that it has 5 HP. Because this all cards more than, right? So it shouldn't gain from itself. I'm going to actually screenshot that too. And test that out. Okay, Elemental Force. If you have 3 cards on different tiles, gain 30 mana. This is fine for if you're playing against another element or if you're not an elemental deck. Or I guess with Painter, like if you're going to run it. But I don't know. It's if you're going to have 30 mana for after playing 3 cards, I don't know why you wouldn't just play that Prism or Triangle, whatever it was called. I think it's like playable, but you're rarely going to like purposely have 3 different tiles. And are you going to count on getting to 3 different tiles? Like, it's not terrible at all, but I feel like there's better ways if you're gonna have 3 cards anyways. Just arrange them in a triangle or something. Now you could have like one on them, I guess, with Elemental Force, but I don't think it's great. Mass Sacrifice. Kill all your non-king cards that are unscorched. Ooh. For each card get their... Okay, so Scorched just gets insane mana. I'm interested to see if, like, Scorched might become the new Dragon archetype, just because Dragon Rage OP. Their king is a dragon. It's not one that easily attacks, but, I mean, that's an interesting thought. So, maybe Scorched gets a new dragon. If I see a new dragon pop up, then that'll be interesting. But Mass Sacrifice is definitely just like, wow, you have a lot of mana now. So maybe you'll get multiple dragons or whatever, right? Attack. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's nothing that costs a lot. I'm gonna sort by cost after this. Maybe there'll be a new card. Okay, Macabre. Wait, 42 HP. I thought it wasn't supposed to be a king, but like it's maybe possible the king. Attack 14. On jump move, good. If this card's first movement, that should have an apostrophe. Cards should have an apostrophe. Perfect. If this card's first movement on a turn was not an attack, okay, it can make a second movement. Okay, I mean, this is just Raiden, but better. With 14 attack instead. Regen 1. I like it a lot. Bonus on Swamp and Ocean? This is insane. This is like everything Swamp decks needed. And Amphibious can run it too, easy. Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I don't have the big queen girl. Actually, I might now. But anyways, this is good. I like Macabre a lot. I think it's going to be run. I think Dragons is still best archetype. I don't know if I really care for running it on Scorch. It just feels so overkill to run it on Scorch. Give a mage the magic push ability. It can move cards. There we go. Give a mage the magic push ability. It can move cards at distance 1 tile away. That's actually just poorly written. It can move cards at distance 1 tile away. Should probably just be it can push adjacent cards 1 tile away. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this. I don't think Knockback Spell is very good for mages. Astral Rush, move an astral to an enemy adjacent tile. Empty adjacent tile. Huh. Wait. What? 25? I guess for the Astral Dragon guy who does like 25 damage. It's okay. Actually, I'm gonna run Astral Dragons. I'm gonna try that a lot. Although I don't think he gets the buff, right? Because he doesn't have a movement attack. I'll look into it. I don't know. I think this is... I won't pay for it. I don't pay 25 for movements, especially not when Force is in the game. Like, this is just a 25 mana Force. I know it's an Astral, but when are you going to pay 25 mana to move anything that isn't your king? Unless you have insane mana, right? But you don't have insane mana because you're not Scorched. Unless, like, Astral gets some insane mana generation, like, no. I'm just going to use Warp, right? Unless Warp costs more than 25 now, but I don't think it does. Okay, change all tiles within distance 1 to Ocean. We talked about that. I don't think it's very good. Uzaru, big attack, huge HP. This is insane. Demons are OP now. Explode your own demon to attack all surrounding cards. Perfect. It sounds a little bit like a worse Azrael, but whatever. When this card is unscorched, attack a card in a side jump path. That's pretty sick. It can attack. It's OP. Oh, shoot. The frog is regular jump. That's not as good anymore. But okay. This card. Actually, would you run this over the big dragon? Probably not, because you can buff the dragon for 0 and make it have 10 more attack. Or 10 more health, 5 more attack, but do it again. So probably not, but this is a fun card. I like the design of Uzuru. I feel like it probably gets, like, Lava Dragon or whatever, it gets good things. And side jump is really good, but they can still avoid side jump, jump combo, right? I don't know. That's pretty good. It's basically a square around you. It's like this. Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure that I will ever play Scorched in general, but interesting card. I don't think it will get that used. Like, I don't think it'll be like a mainstay king, but it might. It's pretty good. Play all illusionists from your deck. They cannot move this turn. This card was needed. Holy cow. I'm playing this so hard. In fact, I'm just going to write that down real quick. Notepad. Use illusionist. Did I say any other cards were just busted? The dragon buffer. And then New Wasteland King, I guess. Maybe I'll keep this here so you guys can see the things that I'm going to mess with. Yeah, here for now. Okay, Stone Crusher. I'm not sure what to think about this. The knockback is weird. It means that they can't swing back if they're single move. Okay, this one you definitely can't. Maybe the knockback spell on mages lets you, like, push your guys into battle, and if so, then it's OP. Otherwise, it's just not. For 11 attack, 15 cost, 35 HP, this is like a pretty normal, like, cheap, decent minion. I kind of like it. It wins duels if you drop it and then push. Things can't really come into it, even if they have, like, a better dueling capability. But horizontal vertical 1 I'm not into, so I won't be running this card, but I can see it being okay. But just okay. I don't think anyone will really run it, because it's an insect. There's better insects. Okay, Spirit of the Land. I'm gonna move it down here, I guess. Attack all adjacent cards can only be used when this card is on Swamp. Okay, so it's like a Swamp Shenlong thing. That also gives you mana, and it has way less health, and it doesn't move. So it's really just like a mana card that defends itself. I really like this. I'm not sure that I like that every single deck is getting its own mana card, but at the same time, it's fun theming, so I'm in. But this is probably the best one so far, right? I know, like, Mana Miner is usually on Crystal, and this one can't be on Crystal. I mean, it can, but it shouldn't. But 12 HP is really good. 11 attack if you can't kill it in one hit is pretty good. Even if it's rooted. You can still use this card offensively. I think it's really good. If your king is a demon, heal it by 20. I mean, demons are just OP now, I see. Holy shit. Give your opponent 2 devil shadows next to their king. Okay, that's not that great, but you're going to steal them anyways, so frankly, I think it's pretty strong. I think people are just going to start using desperate measures. Somehow, like, losing health on their king, maybe trading with the enemy king, and then just stealing one of the devil shadows. Or even killing them. They're not that strong. Mantis Empress. Everyone's seen this card. I think it's fine. Any insect from the hand by this card is like whatever. I mean, it's going to be your king anyways. Whatever. I've given up on insects. At least like flat insects. I still just run Bog Dweller with Bog deck. This is a card. Harden, get 1 defense if on Crystal. 19 attack if on Scorched. Straight line. Holy. I think this is a really strong card. I don't know if I would run it as a king. I might. Like, it's actually pretty strong king, right? If you just get defense if you're on Crystal. Like, just run cards that put you on Crystal. Just get free defense every turn. And then run cards that create Scorched. Those exist. Like a volcano. You just unironically put this thing next to a volcano. Get some crystal going on. You can shoot crystal all you want, and then just get free defense whenever you need, and then proc the volcano and shoot as long as you want. It's not bad. 19 attack. I don't know if it's OP. It's like volcano was maybe, but it's pretty cool. I like this card. It's good design. Boost your plant's movement by 7. Okay. And give them a bonus on Scorched. I don't know who's going to run Scorched plants, but I like those little Scorched plants that spawn each other, so I'm interested. I'm intrigued. The problem is, there's always the question of do you run 2 or 3 of those? If you run 3, they spawn each other, but then you have like a leftover who's just always garbage. Your hand is pretty big always, because you can only play 1 card per turn, but I don't know if it's big enough to merit just having a garbage card in your hand all the time. But hey, this is pretty cool. I like plants getting boosted by 7, but I haven't seen enough good plants to make it good. Especially because the other plant can't even fight back unless it's on a bog, like the mana plant. So, yeah, could be interesting. Astral Rush, we've seen. Anubis, everyone has seen. 6 attack. 10 mana if on Oasis. It's fine. Chasm Crawler is going to be interesting. Will you want more than 1 copy? You could play it on its own for 45. It's not so bad. You have Acid Storm, which is pretty strong. I feel like there's better cards, though. I would even just run Geomancer over this second copy, I think. Okay, I might need to be faster. Holy cow, this is going to be a long video. Anubis we've seen, Last Stand we've seen, Mass Sacrifice we've seen, Gravity Wave, Play on Astral. Oh, an Astral card. All adjacent cards get knocked back 1 tile. Okay, this is cool. This is not like the spell, like knockback spell, because this knocks all cards. So yeah, if your opponent is like really surrounding you, run a Gravity Wave. Or even like Astral has a really easy time getting a card in the back line, and you don't have to give that card like a knockback first. You just Gravity Wave, and it's Astral, so it's gonna get back there and not die. You're gonna go in with your your insane movement, your Astral diagonal guy. You're going to play Gravity Wave. It's going to knock the opponent back into you, and then you're going to swing with your big Astral Dragon. I like it. I think it's only a 1 of, maybe a 2 of. 2 of because you can use it defensively too. That's the other thing, is it's good offensively and defensively. And I think like Knockback spell was good defensively a little bit, but this is better because it gets more than one thing off of you. You can use it and then move because it's a spell. And it's cheaper. Like this is just insane. Actually, like if you're in a position where like you're gonna die, you can play aggro knowing that you have Gravity Wave, because then your opponent spawns cards around you, you Gravity Wave, and you have a lot of space behind you now to walk back. Huh. Because yeah, you can just wave and retreat. And again, Gravity Wave sets up for all your other cards, like your diagonal cards. They can't always hit everything, but then if you Gravity Wave things, then they switch colors. Only things on a diagonal don't switch colors. And what I mean by that is obviously like if your board is like black, white, white, black, white, black, and then this would be white, black, black, white, black, white, black, white. I should be using blue, I'm sorry. But anyways, if you have like black, white, black, white, black, white, then things, you're here, right? Things on white will get pushed to another white because diagonals stay color. But things on black will all be pushed to white. Actually, that's interesting. Everything gets pushed to white. So if you have a white squared diagonal moving guy, any diagonal moving guy, but I think there's only one so far, then you can place your other guys on the same colored square, and then when you Gravity Wave, everything will be on the same diagonal. Which doesn't really matter because cards that can move in a non-diagonal will switch colors, but that's really sick. Okay, Winsect. Tornado rotates. I'm actually gonna throw Gravity Wave here. I'm definitely gonna just like I'm spamming Astral. Okay, Pug. I don't know if you guys really want this. I'm just gonna put it to the side for now. and then I'll bring it back whenever I have ideas. Okay, now what do you do here? Attack 15. Yep. Tornado rotates adjacent cards by 2 tiles clockwise. I don't really care. I mean, it's fine. I think Winsect is a good card for Insect just because moving the opponents is good. But it's really big, and honestly, my favorite insect in the game right now is Mosquito Parasite. That, like, you kill and then you get more of them. So, obviously, that doesn't work with Winsect. And also, it's not really Bog. And I don't like just plain Insect. I think plain Insect is not that great. I know that you have cards like Spawn or whatever it's called, where you can get like 3 copies of a card that like you just play on it. Swarm, that's what it's called. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, you have cards like Swarm, and I mean even like Egg is fine, but no, I don't like plain Insect. I think Bog is just a stronger archetype right now. But I like Winsect as a concept. Like insects need strong cards that don't like have terrible movement, which this one doesn't, and that can attack constantly. And Tornado obviously like it controls a lot of space, and I know I say this all the time, but controlling space is super important, especially with insect decks, because like insect decks just kind of work like you've got your domain and your opponent can't enter it. It's like aqua decks, right? So that's pretty cool. I like insect as a concept. I think it's probably a mainstay in the insect decks. We've talked about all these cards except for Rejuve. Heal a card by 12. It's not bad. I mean, I think all the healing that's being added is a little bit excessive. Like it's actually going to be really hard to kill big kings, and I think like every card will run something like Rejuve Pill, and so or like whatever its own healing, right? I've talked about the demon one, which I think is also OP. Although maybe not anymore considering Rejuve Pill. We'll see. Anyways, the idea is pretty much every deck can heal, and by a lot. So what this does is it makes regen partly less viable, but it actually maybe makes it more viable. I'll get back to you on that. But here's my thinking, right? So games are gonna go longer, I think, and this means a lot of things. All of the excessive mana that like certain decks have is going to come in handy because obviously like if your mana is like this high, right? But this is like your cost over time, you're never gonna hit your total mana. But if we make games longer, which I guess if we start them here, right? Maybe I should make it on the same scale. I'll just make it red. If we start them here and have the same slope, then we're going to intersect. And so decks that don't have such excessive mana will only be here, and they'll actually start hitting their top, right? So this makes mana more OP. This also makes regen, obviously more turns is more time to regen, so regen kings I think will be interesting. But that said, this also might mean that people start running more cards in their deck. I don't know. Like, Rejuve Pill itself doesn't necessitate that, but it's because like when you heal, obviously you still need like if you lose board control and you can heal, well, good for you. But yeah, I think that the presence of a lot of healing cards in the game is indicative of a possible change in a lot of things. Like meta, game time, just like everything about the game. Like this changes everything, you know? So we'll see. Okay, Empress we've talked about. We didn't talk about Entangle. I'm excited for Entangle. I think it's just not that useful. Like surrounding by 3 insects or plants. But I think it's fun. I'm never gonna run it, but I'm excited to see people try to run it. Because it's a fun card. I just like your opponent needs to be on a swamp surrounded by 3 things. I don't know. I guess it doesn't have to be a triangle formation, so it's not that hard. But even then, it can still attack. It just can't move. I mean, if you wanted to do this, you should come play my favorite archetype, Wasteland. Because we got a card that does this, but better. It just says if you're on Waste, you don't move anymore. You don't have to have people around. So it works on like Shenlong and stuff. But okay. Dragon Rage OP, Crystal Trap, do 11, 16 to 5. Oh, 16 minus 5. Damage on crystal. I like it a lot. That's really cool. I don't know what that means. Like, is that just one card on crystal, just boom, 11 damage? Because if so, that's sick. But if you have to like place it, which I don't think you do, but maybe. Like maybe you have to place it and then it hits something next to it. I think that's still okay. 11 damage from afar to one thing. It's okay. But I wouldn't run it. So interesting. We'll have to look at that as it evolves because I'm interested in Crystal Trap. Crystal seems like a fun archetype. Play on an aquatic or amphibious card, then click an adjacent tile. Oh wait, we already went over this. Petal Blades. 10 damage to every enemy next to one your plants. Do 10 damage to every enemy next to one of your plants. Okay, stacks if a card is next to multiple plants. Okay, I mean, again, I would probably have written that a different way, but whatever. That's okay. I like it. I don't think plants is an archetype that has enough, like, high health units for it to matter. But I like the thought of a card that does this. So, 3 out of 10. Good design, not game impacting. Description: when 3 of your Undying cards are in a triangle position, play this card on the center to resurrect any Undying card. I'd need to look at the Undying cards. I feel like this is quite strong. But, like, it's a late game card, right? Like, it's a very control Undying card. But I think Undying, like, what they really need is just to go deeper, right? Because, like, right now, they can resurrect things for a cost. But doing it for no cost is kind of OP. It's not like an early game cheat card, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant. Because 0 cost late game is like, well, whatever, I should have mana anyways. You're not going to go through a whole, like, you're not going to get anything from it unless something with a cost dies. So presumably you're going to have some change mana anyways, but this does potentially let decks go later. And again, if heals are going to be a thing, then that could be useful. Cool. I mean, it's even just frustrating if you kill like a 40 mana card and then it just comes right back for free, so yeah. We've talked about every card here. Dragons, the one thing that they're missing is weak ones. So, yeah, 6 attack for 21 HP. What the frig? Each time you play a dragon or summon one with a spell, it gets 1 attack? And it starts with 6? For 0 mana, 21? Okay, this is just OP. Okay, Dragon Ramp is just insane. I'm actually just gonna spam Dragon Ramp. I didn't think I would, because I don't like dragons as a concept, but I think someone has to abuse this. I'm just gonna put that in this real quick. You can buff Failed Dragon with the Dragon buff thing to make it a 0 mana. Two turns to play, mind you. But a 0 mana, not even 2 turns to play. Like, yeah, 2 turns to play, but like you play Failed Dragon turn 1, right? It is a single, so it's not that great. But you move it forward, and then you give it this Dragon Call or whatever it's called, and then it gets 6 attack plus 10 or plus 5, so 11. Already more than any card at 0 cost has ever had, or can ever have, I should say, because they're all at 9 now, right, or 8. And then it also has 31 HP, so that's kind of cool. Interesting. It's not OP because it's single, but it's kind of cool. I like the ramp effect. I maybe blew it out of proportion when I first saw it. Single, I mean, when are you ever going to hit anyone, right? It's like it's a bodyguard. It has good HP. It's going to ramp up to decent attack. You're probably never gonna buff it because your king is a dragon anyways. Cool. Yeah, I think Desperate Measures is just okay now. I think Life Drain is still kind of I initially, because of the drawing, I saw Life Drain to be like what's it called? An Undying card, and it still could be, but now I'm not so sure. You could run it just anywhere, but Undying, like, I actually really like the other Undying card that gives you free Undyings, so then you might not need to Life Drain as much. Okay, Celadon, attack 3. Everyone's seen this card. Changes terrain to Oasis. Oasis became mainstream, and I don't really care about it. I think it's strong. I think Saladin is playable. You know, bonus on Oasis is kind of strong. It's a mage. You can just run it. It's not as good as Geomancer is for his archetype, but I think you probably still run it, right? Like, there's enough Oasis cards to run it. And Sandwarp. Okay. Play this card on an empty Oasis. Your king will move there. It cannot move after. It doesn't say it can't attack after, so maybe it's OP. But even then, I don't know. I don't like... Well, okay, for 0 cost, free movement, maybe you get to attack if you're like Zera, and no, Zera can't do that. But if you're like a card that has a burst, like the Earthquake one, the new Wasteland one. So okay, it's okay. I don't think moving to it, like, you're gonna use this defensively. I don't know. Is just escaping good? I said it was when I was talking about Astral. But Astral doesn't want to go to an Oasis, probably. Because they're too inconvenient. And Astral likes moving to where it can go. Because it has good movement. But I could see a card, like, with bad movement wanting to do this. Wait, you know what's OP? I don't know. It doesn't say rooted. What's that rooted king? Eater of dimensions or whatever. Space Eater. Big Eater. Okay, anyways, you know the one. Rooted king. Excuse me. Comes with force. And a big explosion around it. Now you maybe use this one to move it into a good place, and then you can create the Oasis with something like Saladin or the shooty Oasis guy. So yeah, Sandwarp, good for a couple decks, specifically Rooted Kings, unless that gets patched. Okay, Chasm Crawler, I love it. I don't want any more. I also don't really want any more Mantis Empress. Hall of Illusions is kind of sick though. Okay, we can talk about Stormwraith now. So this is the one that Chasm Crawler is competing with. Similar stat line. Actually, fairly similar everything. But Tornado. I don't like Tornado at all, personally. I think I like Chasm Crawler better. Similar movement. Move bonus. Move straight line 4 on Wasteland, however. So that could be useful for chasing. And yeah, I think I'm okay with this card. I just personally like... I really like the idea of like the Shenlong, like, do damage and turn into Wasteland. Now, I know you have I'm sorry, Geomancer. You have Geomancer to do that, but yeah, Tornado's like, it's huge area where it damages. I'm more of like a board control near me, like have units near me kind of board control kind of person. Like, I like when you come into my territory, I got units all around to hit you, so you can't do that. You gotta like skirt around my big center and like hope that my units can't hit you. Stormwraith, you can't have units too close to you either, so you can end up in like better 1v1s. I've messed around with Stormwraith a little bit before. I think it's fun. I feel like I'm gonna like Chasm Crawler better. That's what I have to say. Here's another Stormwraith. Cool. Crystal Capture. Play on an occupied crystal tile. The target can't move for 2 turn changes and gets 1 defense. I like it. I don't know, like there's a lot of cards that are pretty weak that you can just swing with, especially on Crystal. Like an attack is an attack, right? You're gonna do like 5 in a thing anyways. So yeah, can't move is acceptable payment, especially if they only have a move attack. But again, like you're not gonna use this on a king because most kings these days seem to have an explodey like move. But maybe not, right? Like again, like if it's Mantis Empress, then they don't. But okay. Um Using it defensively, I think is fine. 2 turn changes includes this turn, right? No, I think it includes your next turn. So maybe I don't like it. I think it's neat design. Give and take is always kind of fun, but it's never been my archetype. So if you want somebody to make something cool with Crystal Capture, maybe don't come to me. Alpha Dragon. If your dragon is a king, subtract 20 HP from all your dragons and heal your king by 10 for each. Not counted as a kill? What does that mean? Not counted as a kill? I guess just for the sake of like if you're on like a fire or something. Well, okay. I think this is fine. Heals are really strong. And dragons have a lot of health to lose. So I think this is probably a 1 of or a 2 of in dragons. Whatever, if you're at the point where you're alpha dragoning with a dragon deck. No, actually I like it. Because the counter to, oh wow, he has a lot of really expensive cards that he shouldn't be able to afford because he cheated them out with Dragon Call and Dragon Knight and various other cards that should not exist. And he buffed his king to have like 40 HP or 30 more HP and 15 more attack than it should have. Like the counter to that is just to kill the king, right? And just ignore the dragons around because you're never going to outscale a big dragon comp. But haha, you can't even kill my king because for every single card I played, I get 10 more HP. It's a pretty good card. Holy cow. Okay, back to this. The dragon buffer for 0. I need to change this to the dragon buffing card because otherwise I'm going to think it's like a buffer. And Alpha Dragon OP? Question mark? I'm going to definitely play with dragons. I think they're going to be OP. Okay, Terrain Painter we've seen, Alpha Dragon we've seen. Okay. Sure. Dark Resurrection is the only new one. Oh wait, we talked about this. It's pretty good. I don't play that archetype, but it's fun. Secret Spring. If this card is on a swamp, for each card a player owns that is next to this card, that player gets 3 mana. Huh. No. Not for me. No. I don't want to leave my guys on spring. Like, I mean, you put your mana card on it or whatever. But your mana card, if it gets attacked, then it has to attack the Secret Spring as well, so that's kind of shitty. And this needs a lot of swamps going on, so you're going to have to play a swamp card, because you're never going to find swamps next to each other, and if you're a swamp deck and you're next to this thing who is on a swamp, then you're going to need more swamps, because you're not going to find that many swamps next to each other. 3 mana per card means that you're not getting, like, at 2 cards sitting next to your spring, you're getting something. That's assuming your opponent isn't trying to sit next to your spring too. I don't like this at all. I'm not playing that. Parrot of Illusions, by the way. The art, I mean, it's good art. It's just like ugly. But like that's not the artist's fault. It's just like ugh, I don't want that card on my screen. Um, Spawn a card that will take on your king's appearance on the opponent's screen. Your king is exhausted afterwards. Okay, it's another illusionist, I guess. I don't actually understand. Spawn a card that will take on your king's appearance. Do I get to choose what the card looks like? Or like what the card actually is? No, right? It doesn't switch. So they know which one it is? Question mark. I'm so confused about this card. Oh, everything is so confusing. This could be okay, but it currently seems like a worst illusionist, especially since we have Hall of Illusions, which seems to be just spawn 3 illusionists. Okay, and thin your deck. That's actually really cool. Wait, is it just literally play all the illusionists and thin your deck, and they can't move, so now your king shouldn't move. But that's fine because you've played 3 illusionists. The only reason you wouldn't play this is if you have a single illusionist which you're trying to use as a warp, which you can do. And like that's it. And even then, you can still play Hall of Illusions to spawn 2 more illusionists. This is really cool. Sure. Vile Concoction, buff 8, give Ravenous 8 to a card you own, increases attack by 8 and its HP by 15. This is really cool. I don't know about the Ravenous, like, it might work for a couple cards, but overall, like, just getting 8 attack on an attack isn't that great, and HP 15 is okay for a dragon, maybe. I can actually only really see this deck, or this card being run in a Magma deck, where you're having, like, a Lava, or whatever, Scorch deck, where you're getting all, like, the insane Scorched mana from things dying on Scorched and all that, and then eventually you might even let it just Ravenous itself, because, you know, it dies on Scorched and gives you 30 mana. But yeah, I think like Vile Concoction, Scorched card. Gonna run it on a Scorched card, and that thing is going to get really big. Boom. Shura. Everyone likes Shura. So obviously it has bad attack and bad HP, but it has Bloodlust, so it gives all the other demons plus 3 attack, which is insane. And for every demon in the grade, more attack. So that's kind of strong. I think it's a fun demon support card. Again, I'm not really into demons. If anyone wants a Shura, trade me something cool for it, and I'm in. Okay, Uzaru is fine. Oh, Riding Lightning. I like this card a lot. Target gets dual zigzag until the turn changes, unless it's rooted. Now you're gonna put this dual zigzag on a guy who's far back, just sitting in base with insane attack, and you're just gonna bop him. And that's how that works. It's literally just how that works, you know? You're like, oh wow, my dragon has a lot of attack. It would be a shame if it were to dual zigzag you. So that's kind of OP. Alright, those have been my packs. I might just real quick go to get cards and just check out view cards in pack and sort by rarity. Just see if there's, I mean, we've all seen Ra in this. Oh yeah, Scale Crown. This is probably the Dragon King that's going to be OP the most. Also, attack knocks target back 1 square unless it's on an edge, rooted, blah blah blah, attack 20. It's a jump move. I don't like that it's a jump move. That's sad. Nebula is supposed to be my favorite card. We'll see. I didn't get Amalgam. Or Binding. And all 3 of these cards have the same. I see. Okay. We looked at pretty much all of the cards. The only ones we didn't really get to talk about are, I don't remember Deadly Heat, 15 to all cards on Scorched. I mean, it's one of those, they're good cards. I like cards like that. Scorched isn't one that I would run this on because usually with Scorched your own guys are on that because you want them to die. But also 15 might kill them, so this card is again just a way to get insane mana potentially. Amalgam, copy a mage's abilities. This is really useful. This is a Mage King. It's strong. Move jump is fine. I like it a lot actually. Holy cow, this is really cool. You can also use this to copy the mage that starts with 2 defense, but I would probably just use a king anyways and then play the defense guy and then put the abilities on the defense guy, use him as my main shooter, use Amalgam as my king.
Cool. Um, Astaroth, I think we've talked about in the past. I think it's really cool. Move all adjacent cards away by one each turn change is really sick. Creates a lot of space, big defense, decent attack for a 0 cost. Since this has jump, I'm not actually so hot on it, but I think it's an okay card. This is like the new lava card. I think it's fine. This card is going to be pretty strong because shoot 20 is strong. Um, it doesn't really say the type of shoot, but I'm assuming it's just two cards away shoot. Big big HP for a king, and jump move is not great, but what can you do? Um, this one is actually kind of interesting now that I'm thinking because it's jump, so it does set them up for being hit. Like, no, it doesn't set them up for being hit again. But maybe it pushes them away and stays where it is as long as you don't kill. So that's kind of cool. I like pushing them to 3. It's kind of a fun way to play. But I don't like jump move at all, so I might never even run this guy. And raw is overused, but kind of decent, a little bit. Okay, that's my take on all the cards. Sorry for this being like the longest video you've ever seen. Thanks for watching.